Hi, how you going? I'm very happy you're watching this video. First of all, because that's good. That makes me happy. Thank you. Please watch the other ones. And also because then it means that I've actually filmed the video and posted the video, and that I have taken an afternoon off after a lot of days of working way too much, working on the weekends and working at night at stupid times and all of that. That is because part of my work fluctuates a lot in terms of volume, and right now it's just a very packed moment for my teaching work, and that means that I've been working nonstop and I'm a little bit stressed out. I was coming back home yesterday in the bus and I realized that I just could not take it anymore, and I wanted to take the afternoon off, but a few things came up and I had to attend to those things, and I decided that today would be the day that I would just sit down and read for the whole afternoon, or for as long as I felt like reading. And I've also been in a bit of a reading slump, and I have not been able to finish a book in a really long time. Every book that I pick up, I end up DNFing, like I did not finish it. And I've gotten some books from the library, and the last time I did finish one of the two that I got recently, but the other one I just gave back after reading like 20 pages because I was just not getting into it. It might be that I'm picking the wrong books, but I think it might be that I'm a little bit blocked as well. And I've been really hoping to get my hands on loading on a page turner. And if you know any that is not like the latest, trendiest, craziest book talk thing, because I tend to get a little bit annoyed at this, like, you have to read this before the end of the year kind of books. They stress me out. Please let me know. If you have any recommendations, any book that you feel like once you picked it up, you could not stop reading, I would love that. Please just recommend me books. But for today, I got it covered because I'm going to read a book that is one of my favorite ones of all time. It was definitely like top 3 when I was a child. And that book is Matilda by Roald Dahl. How do you pronounce Roald Dahl? I know that his parents were from Norway and he was born in Wales. Anyway, who doesn't like Matilda? I don't know anyone who's read this book and doesn't like it. I don't know anyone who's watched the movie and doesn't like it. I've not watched the most recent movie, the musical one. I really want to, but I was just a little bit scared when it came out that it was not gonna live up to my very high expectations, so I have it on my watch list. But today is a gloomy day. I'm very tired. I'm a little bit burned out from the last few weeks at work, and I don't usually give myself permission to chill out or to slow down. It's also November. It's getting in my head. It's also November. It's currently November. I've hacked my own brain with my own marketing. That is good brand placement. Oh my god. It's November. I can't say November. It is currently the month of November, and I am doing my November challenge, which is just my substitute or my alternative for NaNoWriMo, so National Novel Writing Month, which blah blah used to be a thing, but now it's not. If you can, should I put one of those watch my other video thingies? I'm still so new to this. All of this just means that I have been working a bit too much and very long hours. I've also been making YouTube videos, which was not something that I used to do before, and I still have to learn to integrate it in my life. But actually the YouTube videos have not been a source of stress. They have been actually like a creative relief. I feel really good when I'm filming. I'm a little bit more tense when I'm filming, but when I'm editing, I'm basically the happiest person alive. I really enjoy the whole process, looking for the music and trying to match everything together and like cropping and putting the clips together. It's just a happy place for me. But it's still kind of a productive activity to be doing, and what I am right now is exhausted. I am creatively exhausted because I'm putting a lot of effort into writing 1,000 words every day. I am working a lot at work, which is also kind of creative because I have to write a lot. I have to write feedback for assignments, and I have to teach, and that is not the same as writing a book, but it's also a little bit creatively exhausting. And then on top of that and other work that I do, I've been making the videos. So let's just say I'm a little bit burned out and a little bit tired and I need a little bit of a rest. This was really a ton of excuses, and I shouldn't really need all of those to just take an afternoon off, but working on it. At this point, I felt like I needed to give all of those excuses, and then after hearing myself giving them, I realized that no person should have to. But that's okay. We're working on it. When I picked up this book, I was hoping to read it all in the one afternoon, but I am kind of a slow reader. I'm a really, really slow reader, and I'm happy to. Sometimes I do wish that I would read faster, but in general, I just really enjoy words. You know, I don't only enjoy like the story happening or the characters talking to each other. I enjoy each word separately and how they join together to make a sentence. I'm sure that I would be able to say this more poetically if I was speaking in my own language. And I'm also very tired. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but yeah, it's as well as I can do in English, at least today. So I cheated a bit and I started earlier today because it's also already, I think it's like 5 p.m. So I don't really have that much time. But I'm on page 54 of 236. I think still it's a bit ambitious for me because I tell you I'm terribly slow. But this is a beautiful book. It's really, I'm gonna show you. It's beat, and if you watched any of my other videos, you know how much I love a beat book. It's in a bit of a state. It's kind of yellow. I'm pretty sure it was not yellow when we first bought it, but this one actually belonged to my brother. I inherited this book and apparently I kept it. Sorry. I remember loving this book so much when I was a child, and I reflected so much on Matilda because I was one of those kids. Maybe you were one of them too, that lived for books. I breathed books, and all I wanted to do ever was reading and writing. And as soon as I was able to read the books myself, as opposed to having an adult read them to me, I started reading everything that fell in my hands. I was one of those people for a very long time whose identity was very much books. And I guess as we grow older, we become more complex, or I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, for the longest time, all I wanted to do was read and write. I guess I haven't changed that much. I guess my attention is a bit more spread around, but at the end of the day, that's kind of most of what I want to do. I just don't have the time or the energy. Ugh. But what better way to relax than try and be a kid again and get in the shoes of that little Marina that just really enjoyed reading this book and this story, and that thought that there was nobody cooler in this world than Matilda Wormwood, which, by the way, I did not know what that meant when I was a little kid, obviously, because I didn't speak that much English or any English at all. Wormwood. What a surname. And one more thing before I stop rambling and I go make some tea, because how the hell am I gonna read if I'm not having a tea? And another thing about this book is that it is illustrated by Quentin Blake, and I'm pretty sure that he's illustrated a bunch of other books by Roald Dahl. Actually, I have some of them. Let's see. Definitely not this ancient copy of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That is a relic. My God, look at that. It's so, oh, too bad. It's so pretty. Pretty sure it's also my brother's. But this too, definitely. This is George's Marvelous Medicine. I don't know if you know of you or you've read this one. I really liked it. I think Roald Dahl might have been my favorite early childhood author. And this is James and the Giant Peach, and it's also beautiful, and it's also illustrated by the same guy. They are a very particular style of illustrations down here, because I need to see if it's focusing or not. They're very recognizable, and I really, really like the style. Anyway, I think we should go make tea and then sit right there. All right, tea, book, nook. Okay, I'm done. That was very cool. I'm very happy that I was able to do this, and I guess that I allowed myself to do it because technically I guess I could every now and then find an afternoon or an evening to just read a book that I really like, but I don't usually do it. And I think one of the saddest things about being an adult for me is that after going to university, where I think anyone that's done a degree in uni probably will agree. At least I've heard a lot of people saying the same thing, but you have to read so much just for the mandatory course materials and readings that it kind of sucks the love for reading out of you. It makes it hard to want to read when you don't have to. And 4 years is a long time to be feeling like that. And I think it's very difficult afterwards to shake it out of yourself and learn to love reading again. And it's particularly sad and upsetting, I think, when you were a person who was very passionate about reading before. I really enjoyed uni for most part of it, but you don't really get to choose what you read during that time. And I think that is the problem with it. And it's the same with high school, but I think in high school, whether we realize it or not, we have a lot more time in our hands and we have a lot more that we can do. Anyway, this was just the perfect medicine. It felt really healing. It felt really wholesome to just sit down in a cozy space and have a warm tea and a bunch of cookies that I ended up baking, and they were really good. And reading a book that just is great. It's perfect. I think it's an awesome piece of work. And I actually took some notes about things I want to say about it. I didn't really feel this time like getting into the book with the purpose of making like a literary critic or anything like that. I'm not gonna give you any specialized lecture on it, obviously, because my goal for today was just to sit down and enjoy my reading. So these are just some personal notes that I wrote because I didn't want to forget anything when I sat down in front of the camera, which tends to happen sometimes. I have all of these ideas in my head, and if I don't have a script, I just like everything just vanishes immediately as soon as I press record. So let me see what we have in this pop dog notebook. You're so cute and so little. This tea is so good. One of my favorite things about Matilda is something that I realize probably was one of my favorite things as well when I was a kid, which is the idea that adults are not always right. And in fact, they are wrong very often. A lot of the time in books for children, there's some kind of like hidden moral about listening to your parents and listening to the grown-ups around you because they know what's best. But then there's this few, maybe not a few, maybe I just haven't run into that many, but there's a lot of other books and stories where they make it pretty clear that some adults are just stupid. And now that I'm an adult, I can confirm I can sometimes be stupid. I know a lot of very stupid adults, and I'm sure you do too. But this idea of adults in some children's life that have absolutely no clue how insanely wrong they are about a lot of things and how oblivious they are to the wonderful people that are their children. It's very refreshing considering this is a very old book. And I think it was probably one of those things that as a child made me feel more, it made me connect more with the book, because as a child, you're constantly being treated like you have to listen to your elders and you have to pay attention to the adult in control in whatever situation, whether it's your parents or your older siblings or your other family members or teachers or literally anyone that is older than you. And I think as a kid I thought that was bullshit, honestly. I think I really like this type of character who was like Matilda, who was brave and she was smart and she was aware that she was brave and smart. And it's actually really fun when she decides that when her dad misbehaves, she has the right to punish him just like he does with her. I think it's quite revolutionary, and I forgot about that bit of the book, and I thought it was really great. There's also the thing about children being way more powerful than a lot of people give them credit for, and in the case of Matilda, she's obviously, her power actually manifests in the shape of telekinesis. Telekinesia? How do you say it in English? See, my issue is that I use my phone to record the sound, so I can't really just Google whatever it is that I have doubts about. But that's okay. It's more like a real life conversation. But there's actually a lot of other kids in this story that rebel and stand up against Miss Trunchbull and Trunchbull. Like some of Matilda's classmates and Hortensia, I don't know how you pronounce her name. In Spanish it would be Hortensia, which is the name of a flower. They know that their principal is a tyrant and they refuse to comply. They are always finding ways to rebel, and I like that about the book. I think in the movie it's a lot less clear. I couldn't help but comparing the book and the movie pretty often, and I think it's a pretty faithful adaptation. I think one of the most faithful ones that I've been able to compare. The dialogues are basically exactly the ones from the book, but this was different. This older girl, Hortensia, is a lot more of a rebel. She's a bit of a rascal in the book, and in the movie I think she's just a bit protective of the little ones. Something that caught my attention a lot, and it felt different too when I read this book as a child, is that Miss Trunchbull is not only a horrible bully, not only a complete abuser and a terrible, terrible person, but also very frustrating to talk to. There's this scene where she's having a conversation with Miss Honey, in which Miss Honey's trying to convince her to move Matilda to a higher level in school so that she can learn more, because she's just gonna be bored in the class that is right for her age. And Miss Trunchbull just keeps twisting the words and making up arguments to contradict Miss Honey. And I just couldn't help but feeling so annoyed and so frustrated at her. And this is more of an adult approach to it, because as a child you're probably thinking, this is a mean woman, she's evil, she grabs kids by their braids and like spins them around and throws them out the window, which is objectively horrible. But as an adult, I couldn't stop thinking about this kind of person that you're trying to have a conversation with, and they're just so unbearable. They just keep being confrontational for no good reason, and it helps nobody. But speaking of Miss Trunchbull, the book I thought was pretty hardcore. It surprised me a lot more than when I was a kid, because she does use a ton of violence on these kids. She insults them in a wide variety of ways. She is so imaginative with her insults, and some of the times it's so horrible that some of the times it even made me chuckle a little bit. There's this little bit where she grabs a child by his ears and she's holding him up, and Miss Honey is horrified and all the kids are horrified, and she's like, Miss Honey is like, you're gonna rip his ears off. And Miss Trunchbull just says something like, no, Miss Honey, in my experience it's extremely difficult to separate a kid's ears from the kid. And it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean, lady? I was showing you before other books by Roald Dahl that I have, and as a kid I read all of the ones that I could get my hands on, and I think I was pretty used to his sense of humor and his extreme ways of depicting weird adults and villains. But as like reading it today at this age, it surprised me quite a bit, and honestly it was super fun. I think it's the kind of thing that as a child you accept it. It's ridiculous and it's bizarre, but you keep reading and you're like, yeah, this woman is evil. What did you think? And I remembered her being evil and being abusive, but I think it was just all of the insults. They were very creative. I also read Carrie by Stephen King recently, and I kept thinking this time this is like a more luminous, like a more bright interpretation of Carrie, because she also fights injustice and a bully through her telekinetic telekinetic powers. When thinking about it as a fantasy story, I thought it was pretty interesting as well and pretty unique that Matilda only develops her powers, or she becomes aware of them, towards the end of the book, like around the last act. I like that. I thought it was original, and the fact that she loses them in the end was also pretty good. Was also a pretty interesting decision. Maybe that's more of a common thing that happens in other books and stories, where the mission has been completed and then the hero can rest and be a normal person. But I thought it was interesting as well. Overall, I think my favorite thing is that Roald Dahl treats children like clever little people that are not stupider because they're smaller. They just have less experience in this world. But if anything, that can sometimes be their superpower and not a weakness like a lot of adults think. I'm sounding very anti-adult, and I think I am in general. I think children are objectively better than adults most of the time, and that includes me. I think children are great and adults pretty much suck. But in summary, I am very, very happy that I did this. I love this book very much, and now all I want to do is grab the rest of his works and read them. And more than anything, it was just very, very healing, and I feel so much more rested. I was a little bit stressed because, like I said, I'm a slow reader, and I didn't think I could make it through the whole book before nighttime, and I wanted to do it because I had to film this last bit of the video. So I will probably do it next time without filming it, just to remove that little bit of pressure and just to feel a bit more like, if I don't finish the book tonight, it's fine. I can just continue tomorrow. Maybe I won't be able to dedicate that many hours to it, but you know, it's just so nice. It's just the best hobby to have in the universe, especially in the winter, especially when it's gloomy and horrible and you have a warm tea. All of the things I'm saying are a huge cliche, and that doesn't make it any less true. So that's it from me. I am very happy that this happened, and if you're still there, thank you very much for staying with me this afternoon. And I hope you liked the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have read Matilda, which I hope you have because I spoiled it, but I think everyone's watched the movie. Focus, Marina, don't derail. Let me know in the comments if you have read the book, what are your thoughts on it, if you would like this kind of video and you would like more like this one. But also I would like to know how you're doing. Are you also burnt out? Are you stressed out? Are you overworked these days? Or are you absolutely, completely chill and happily enjoying life? But also, if you have any book recommendations, like I said earlier, please let me know. I would love that. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.